Everybody, Alex Terrace here, Health Hacks Reviewed. So this video, it's one of these videos I just got to start getting out all these different protocols that I'm doing. I am so busy. I work 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, morning and night, and I work very fast, type 120 words a minute. That's how busy I am. There's a lot of information I don't have on my YouTube channel. This video is about how you bring necrotic bone back to life. If you just have some sort of condition and you need some help, you want to know about different modalities, I've researched for 15 years, all kinds of stuff. I'm looking for the top 1 to 5% of things. I'm going to start doing more of these videos where I'm actually going into like which protocols you actually do for providing therapy to certain conditions. Okay, so here I am, with not the best setup, with a crazy background behind me. I don't even care anymore about being professional. I'm just going to start doing more videos just to get the content and the information out there. So if you don't know, by the way, I sell also medical devices, all kinds of equipment for 45, 50 different companies. So let's roll right into it, okay? All right, so here we go. How do you bring a necrotic dying bone back to life? So this one is something that can happen for a variety of reasons. One way actually is from getting too much radiation in an area where cancer is trying to be treated through the traditional means that aren't that great necessarily for the immune system and the bones. All right, so if you didn't know, pulsed electromagnetic frequency has been around a long time. NASA first started to look into it, although there were studies going back way before even NASA. Okay, so one of the best devices for the price for localized healing applications is MicroPulse. This is the device right here. Look at this, $429. Who did this device? Dr. Bob Dennis. Definitely a genius in his own right, very busy, doesn't care about the money, that's unusual. He just wants to get good technologies out there. He's personally done probably 20 years of research, and a lot of that on bones, okay? And also some tissue healing. So he's also consulted for other PEMF companies. He's on the actual NASA patents. He's the guy with some other names on the actual NASA studies. When all these PEMF companies are talking about, NASA did this research, and they try to liken themselves to it. Here's the guy that was actually doing it. Okay, so he has a lot of that technology in here. He did another 17 years of research past the NASA research. Okay? So much superior to a lot of these devices that are $12,000, $25,000. But if you have dead bone or whatever, something like that, extreme inflammation in a localized area. So this is the device right here, okay? It's portable. It does a 9-volt battery. There's 2 coils. That's all you need. They also have other coil systems that have 4 coils if you want that. It's very easy to do. You would just basically wrap it around your jaw or whatever, base of the neck, if that's involved in the jaw condition possibly. Here's one with the 4 coils, by the way. And you basically just run for like 15 minutes. If you have a severe condition, you might want to do that like 4 times a day, leaving like a couple hours in between so the body doesn't get used to the signal. Although he does run 3 different programmed signal wave frequency programs to prevent that from happening, where the body gets used to the signal. But you still don't ideally want to do like super long treatment, and you want to leave some time in between. And actually, even to a certain extent, less is more. Again, you don't want the body to get used to it. And this device is very effective. So as long as you're doing it every day, you'll get good results. So you don't have to overdo it. Some people who overdo things or want that is going to be more for like somebody in extreme pain, like an acute sort of pain condition. And then you could maybe think about doing a longer duration of time. Outside of that, you just don't need a lot. You just need to be consistent with this thing. Less power is fine. So if you see companies that say, oh, you need a PEMF device that's more powerful, you need a lot of power to penetrate, it's total bullshit. They're trying to sell their device, which is not backed by any research saying more power is better. It's total bullshit. I'm not going to call out a specific person in this industry that uses that line just to sell these grossly overpriced devices, because we all can probably figure out who that is. Okay, it's never been proven anywhere. All right, oh, I need more Gauss, I need more Gauss. No, find me the research if that's true. Doesn't exist. So moving on, your nervous system, if you send the right signal through, carries it to where it needs to go. How powerful do you think the signal in your brain? You think it's 1,000 Gauss just to get your toe to do something, to send a signal down there? No, I didn't think so. So if you have low power, it's fine. It conducts through the body. Moving on to the next modality. I'm a little jazzed up here if you could tell. I'm actually breathing in this molecular hydrogen right here, so I usually wear this. This stuff gives you so much energy, it's unbelievable. I'm actually a little scared. I don't know if you've ever had as much energy, so much energy that it actually scares you a little bit. That's literally the level I'm functioning at, just to put in perspective. People are like, Alex, what are these protocols you do? So I don't really have any serious health conditions, so I'm just onwards and upwards in my performance level. So I'll be jacked up for 10 hours working as fast as possible. Like when I work as fast as possible. I'm typing 120 words a minute. I'm multitasking like anyways. Here's the next one. Is molecular hydrogen therapy. So I have a lot of information I could send you if you want more on this. If we say hydrogen therapy has 1,000+ studies, there's tons of really high-level research, very impressive, 600 peer-reviewed, a lot of it mostly in Japan, overseas. It's probably the next biggest thing to be researched also, because it's good for 170 conditions, even more than that. Safest modality out there, period. One of the most affordable, widest efficacy. So over the next 10 years, you'll probably see more studies on this than possibly anything else. Compared to oxygen therapy, which is another well-studied alternative therapy, has wide efficacy, well proven for 50+ years, really. For many conditions, hydrogen is actually better. We're actually just seeing that in real-world results. It can do certain things that oxygen can't even do, that they don't even know how it does what it does for some things, which is pretty unusual for them to just say, we saw this result and the chemistry is beyond us at the moment, how it was able to do that. So there's a lot of information I could send you on this. This is a machine. There's only 2 really on the market. There's another one that's extremely expensive, doesn't really have any additional benefits, more used in hospitals. But this basic simple machine produces a very high flow rate of hydrogen gas. I'm going to have another video comparing this to the Lourdes machine, Lourdes. It's going to be an amazing review video that's going to break down specs and prove with just clear facts, spec to spec, why this machine is actually a better machine to buy. And that's going to fly in the face of hydrogen guy's information, which you probably won't find, you won't be too happy about, or maybe you'll be excited about it. I don't know, but this machine is superior. So yeah, Hydrogenie. You get a high flow rate. I'm breathing it. For example, 1 minute of breathing this will actually be the equivalent of 30 liters of drinking the molecular hydrogen. So when you drink it, it can also infuse into these cups. Now you can also get water and hydrogen through water hydrogen machines. Synergy Science is a great company if you just want the machine that just makes water, like hydrogen in the water. But that machine's like $2,000, $2,000 to $3,000. So here's a machine that's $2,000, but you can administer it externally, which I'm going to talk about in a second for jaw, how you bring the jaw back. So you can do the external application with this little applicator cup here. You see that right here? I'm circling, which passes right into the tissue because the element of hydrogen will diffuse through any object, any material. You can bubble it into water and drink it. And then you can get the gas and inhale it like I'm doing all night long while you're sleeping, during the day, whenever. And you get a high dose that way too. If you look at the studies, there's slight unique benefits to inhaling, slight unique benefits to external application and drinking, but then also a lot of overlapping benefits. So you kind of want to do it all if you're in an extreme health situation, basically. So like in the case of the jaw, this is what I would do, and health clinics do. There's 2 things. You can use this applicator, and for 10 to 20 minutes, really as long as you want. Longer is usually better with hydrogen, actually. But at least 10 to 15 minutes, 2-3 times a day, you're just going to hold it on the jaw. In addition, what works actually really well too is you infuse in the cup here, or an external cup. There's an external attachment on the side. And you'll actually infuse a towel. You'll just bubble your water for 10-15 minutes, maybe even 30 minutes, because if it's a serious condition. Put a water washcloth in there, wring it a little bit, but keep a lot of water in there. Then just set it on your jaw, and you're going to let it sit there, and it'll soak in through the skin very powerfully. I've seen inflammation, burns, things like it's literally like magic. I've never seen anything like it. Inflammation come down 2 inches off the limbs of the body. First-degree burns and beyond disappear in 30 minutes. Like, this is not exaggerations. I've followed clinics and practitioners for like 2 years now. The things that you'll see with hydrogen are like, they're hard to believe. But when you look at the studies, which in their own right are hard to believe, some of these results they get in the research studies, you actually can believe it. It's real. So you can soak it in through the water. I believe that's a good strategy. Do the gas administrations externally. even drink the water, swish it around your mouth when you're drinking like a liter or two a day. Inhale it as well, so you get the full systemic effect. You get your whole immune system helping to regrow that bone as well. You want to do it all, basically, and hydrogen will serve you well, and it will potentiate every single condition or every single other modality. If you want to potentiate PEMF, PEMF potentiates oxygen therapy and hydrogen therapy. I didn't even let you know, this machine also gives you molecular oxygen. And they're finding that's synergistic. And when you actually understand hydrogen and its role with oxygen, that's kind of a no-brainer. It's obvious why having a little oxygen is helpful. Or even why they're trying to bring back necrotic bone by getting ozone injections. And that can work well. Maybe something you want to look into for sure, but you just might not need it, and it's kind of expensive per injection. So something to keep it as an ace up your sleeves. But this already has oxygen in it. Moving on. So this is more PEMF therapy. When you look at all the different PEMF devices out there, technically the device that has the most research of any PEMF full body system is the QRS. And that's just basically undisputable. It just has the most research, and everybody else pretty much came after and copied them, or attempted to copy. They have 57 lawsuits to protect all their patents internationally, which is why basically nobody ever successfully copied them. Anyway, so this is what it looks like. They have a 6-month return period. So if you're like, well, I don't know if it'll work, I don't want to spend $4,000, well, it's not a very low financial risk if you can send it back, is it? All right, so you would use that. They also have an applicator on there, so you want to treat your whole body. Again, you want your whole immune system. You want from the brain down to the gut, everywhere, to help you regrow that bone, the necrotic bone. You want to involve everything. That's why a full body mount works with an external applicator. It's not overkill if you also have the additional PEMF device, because that's almost even honed in, the micropulse, even more so for bone, specifically bone. So it's even more fine-tuned. So doing both, no problem. Just don't do them at the same time. And I would leave maybe like an hour in between both brands, both modalities, just to make sure there's absolutely no interference. It wouldn't be a bad thing. It just might affect the efficacy. That's all. It's not going to harm you or anything like that. All right, yeah, so moving on. Everybody needs a good price on this. I sell all this equipment, by the way. I'm aligned with all these companies. All right. Hyperbaric, again, you may want to do these other modalities first. Probably will heal your condition without even having to get the hyperbaric. But putting oxygen under pressure, and it depends on where the necrotic bone is happening or bone type of condition, you still might want to do hyperbaric. So no, you don't have to spend a bunch of money on an OxyHealth. OxyHealth is more expensive simply because it's been in the industry the longest. So you have the biggest brand recognition. Like, why is a Nike shoe, especially going back to the 80s and 90s, why was a Nike shoe so expensive, right, compared to a lot of other brands? A brand name. It's just because they mark it up more. There's very, very little difference between an OxyHealth on a manufacturing level than like a Newtown, for example. Newtown came out some 8-10 years ago or whatever to compete with OxyHealth and say, hey, we can charge 50% less, 40 to 50% less. We don't have to rip off sick people, as much. Don't get me wrong, OxyHealth is a great company, but they are charging a lot for the brand recognition, essentially. So basically, Newtown came around. I've seen all the different brands. I've tracked several clinics with tens of thousands of treatments with all the brands. So this is just talking about real world experiences. What chambers are lasting longer, right? What problems are happening with what chambers? Newtown, yeah, in a high volume commercial clinic, it might, fail you 6 months faster, maybe a year faster. Maybe yes and no. It just depends. But at home, there's no difference. I'm talking about high volume usage, like 8 hours a day they're using these things, 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day. That would be like a lifetime for your personal usage. So just go with the Newtown or a Summit to C or something like that. And the other thing is, if you have necrotic bone, it's not going to be like you're using hyperbaric for the rest of your life, and I don't even recommend that. The body potentially could get used to oxygen under pressure. There could be some drawbacks to that. That's my theory. So you just need something like for 4 months with the other adjunct therapies, maybe 12 months. It just depends on your condition and if you have other contributing conditions that you may want to use it for maybe even 2 years. It just depends on what you have going on. So a lot of people will just resell their chamber after that. There's a massive resell market. My distributor I use has used inventory, new, and will even buy back your chamber, especially if it's still under warranty. So for necrotic bone, things like that, you shouldn't have to have this for a lifetime. So don't think you're going to get stuck with the chamber. You should be able to resell it back. You'd be surprised how much of your money you can actually recoup by reselling it. And also keep in mind, you can even finance. So you can even finance, pay off some of it, sell it back. When you actually look at your out-of-pocket, it's not much money at all. You'd be surprised. People see the price tag and they're like, oh my gosh, it's expensive. But actually, when you look at this new town, look at how low these prices are. Under $4,000 for new, brand new. And I can get better prices, by the way. So don't call up the company directly. If you call up companies directly, they'll always charge you more. Work with a distributor or a dealer like myself or my distributor I work with. We'll always give you a little bit of a better price. But still, look how low these prices are. Go on OxyHealth's website right now. It's like double, triple this price. It's ridiculous. So this is really affordable. And again, you can resell it back. If you really want to have the highest chance of getting, by the way, a good price on reselling your chamber, actually pay a little bit more money. It sounds counterintuitive because this is like sleeping or laying in a coffin if you don't get claustrophobic. Go with the 34-inch. And more people are actually looking for that size chamber, or even this one right here. If they say military, by the way, that's if you have been in the military or you have a friend who can get you that discount. And then you'll actually be able to sell it for a lot more, especially if it's still under warranty. By the extended warranty, you'll get a good amount of money back. Well worth it in the end, especially if you're going to use it for like 6 months, 12 months, and longer. So those are all my hyperbaric tips, by the way. So you can call me if you need a quote on that. So so again, look at the studies on hyperbaric. Just as, honestly, it almost seems like any condition we throw at hyperbaric, it improves. And when you follow these clinics treating tens of thousands of conditions. And again, when you look at how does PEMF enhance oxygen therapy, I have a whole book, and there's a great chapter in there talking about, explaining in detail how it potentiates oxygen therapy. Extremely synergistic. What we're seeing is if you use a PEMF mat like this, for example, and then you use it underneath the chamber, it's like getting 5, 6 sessions in one session. It's not going to give you different benefits. It's just going to basically massively enhance, or in a more efficient way. So you're going to basically arrive at that healing finish line, if you will, that much faster by combining the two modalities. You want to at least do PEMF right before your oxygen session. Or you want to do it at the same time. That's what's cool, is you can actually do it at the same time. So we actually have hyperbaric clinics now I work with that are combining the PEMF underneath the chamber and getting outrageous results. There's more than I could tell you in the video before the video turns into like 25 minutes about how they're synergistic together. Okay, this is interesting. Yeah, so I just landed on the page at this moment, right on here on the QRS website. So they're talking about how it actually enhances the ion transportation of oxygen through the cell wall. It also makes blood more charged up to the degree that they're able to hold a better covalent bond of oxygen and carry it to where it needs to. People with all these circulation issues, which is like everybody, a lot of it is because of the paramagnetic issues or the ability of the heart and the blood supply not to be able to hold oxygen on the hemoglobin successfully. This is where a lot of the disease states come from. Or by the time somebody's 45, 55, they have 50% less oxygen in the body. They're not holding on to oxygen long enough. It's getting lost along the way. So this is like a big key people don't understand. So a big way to correct that is with electromagnetic types of therapies. What about magnetic beds, Alex? No to magnetic beds. Sorry, Magnetico. If you actually look at the studies, which they started like 40, maybe 60 years ago in the East on magnetic therapy, they found that, oh wow, this is really impressive for like a week, and then the effects stop. So if you're using a magnetic therapy where it's the same pole in the field of the body the whole time, and that pole doesn't flip like PEMF does, your body just has a tolerance just like that. So you get benefits in the short term, and then they'll just stop completely, and then you've essentially wasted your money and your time. What you're looking for, if you're looking to magnet therapy, you should be looking at pulsed electromagnetic therapy or pulsed electromagnetic frequency therapy. So that's a little side point on magnets. The last ace up your sleeve, another company that I like is Laser. Let me just look this up for you so you can see the website. is the ace up your sleeve is, let's say, Alex, I got the necrotic bone, I've got 85% recovery, maybe 90. I'm just not totally there. It's still been X amount of months. I just can't quite get there. So the ace up your sleeves, especially with the bone is, well, a lot of areas of the bone are very close to the surface of the skin, is high-powered class 4 laser therapy. It's non-invasive lasers, 25 years of studies. Okay, people are like, where's the science? Well, there's 25, probably 2,600 clinical studies at this point. It's well validated. We know how light therapy or photobiomodulation works. So if you haven't heard about it, it's not woo-woo. It's just like a huge body of research you have no clue about. Rigorous studies. So the way that you get light into being receptive to the chromophores, the mitochondria, the cell wall in the bone, you need a strong laser. So we're talking about like 30 watts up to 60 watts in that range. There's only 2 companies that do it. The best high-powered laser company, pretty much one of the only ones, is Aspen Laser Systems. These are an amazing manufacturer. So it's their Pinnacle Laser series. Again, if you want a great price on this, just ask me. I get a good deal with them. So through people that come through me through them versus just going to them directly. This is what it looks like. Near infrared, which is the wavelength on here, there's 2 different wavelengths, will actually be able to go into the bone. How cool is that? Same for like cognitive and brain improvements. You need a very high-powered laser to get through there. LEDs, you'll see a lot of like cognitive enhancing devices. LEDs are okay, but it's nothing like laser. Bottom line though, we're trying to bring bone back to life. So you need to get near infrared deep into that bone. And it can be awesome because it can also kill infections. Oh, that was maybe one of the causal factors of necrotic tissue. Am I right or am I right? So how do you just go in there and you just vaporize all the pathogens? You can 100% do that with a high power density. But again, you need a high power near infrared laser. Forget the cold lasers. It's not going to work. Low levels, forget it. Okay? Regardless of the bullshit that those companies and manufacturers want to tell you, it's not going to work. It doesn't pass into the bone. Will it affect the blood maybe a little bit, the hemoglobin that'll go to different parts of your body? Sure, that's measurable, but we're talking about getting light into bone. To get light into bone, you have to pass through tissues. You have to pass through a lot of tissues, and you'll have refractance of that beam all over the freaking place. So to actually get any sort of actual energy in there, you need a lot of power, period. That's always the problem with laser and getting depth of penetration. You have fat, you have fascia, you have all these different things. You have the hemoglobin, which blocks a lot of the light. And then we're trying to get into the bone. You need a lot of power, period. So don't waste your time, waste your money with low-level lasers if you're trying to get it in there. If you're trying to find a practitioner, by the way, in your area that uses a good high-powered laser, just call the company, say, hey, do you have anybody in my area? I'm trying to find somebody. Or do you have maybe, if I'm a practitioner, do you have a sales rep that can come and give me a demo? Call me first though, or let them know my name, and then say, what's the Alex Terrace discount or whatever deal? And then you can get a little bit of a better deal. So this is the Pinnacle series. You'll be looking for anywhere in 30 between 60 watts, continuous wave, near infrared 980 or 810. This is the ace up your sleeves again, by the way. So. But then you're thinking, Alex, well, maybe if I have a lot of a serious infection in that area, I know it's a pathogen for sure. Maybe you should do this first. And the thing is, you don't need a lot of treatments. If you have true high power like this, and it costs you $150, let's say, it's like, oh my God, it's a lot of money. Well, you don't need like 15 treatments or something. You don't need 50 treatments. You need like 2, 1, 3. Like it's not a lot. It goes in there and it just thoroughly clears out the tissue. They'll slowly move it apart and it will just vaporize everything. It's amazing. So no, you don't need a lot. Then you're coming in there, you're bolstering, you're boosting the tissue, the microcirculation, right? Through all these other modalities. Inflammation is lowered, your immune system is raising up. So your immune system will just take it the rest of the way. So you're not going to need, if you were just doing laser, then I'd say, yeah, maybe you'll need several, I don't know, 10 treatments. It's really hard to say. Everybody's different. Practitioners will say, you need 10 treatments. And the little secret, the inside secret is like, they don't really know. Like everybody is, they have a general sense, but if we're talking about bringing necrotic tissue back to life in particular, they may have treated somebody, but it's a little bit more of an area where they probably haven't seen too many people with that. It does absolutely work, but they'll give you a rough estimate. But the bottom line is you shouldn't need a lot of treatments if it's really high powered, okay? If you do find a laser practitioner that has something less powered, just run the laser system by me. Say, Alex, what about this brand? What about this power? Is that going to do anything for me? Is it worth paying for? And I'll tell you. Just send me a live chat, call me, email me. And then the last thing, which is kind of interesting one, is, are you aware of clay, different clays as medicine? Clay is one of the oldest medicines to mankind. You can get a PhD in clay science. So it's like, oh, clay, well, this seems kind of simple or odd. It's actually so advanced how it works in the body. There's still some things of how it works in the body. They don't even know how it works with all of the study of decades. They're like, it's magic, you know? So there's a lot of stuff that they know. But so when you get into how clay actually works on the body, in the body, it is very much involved with all kinds of stuff. Signaling medicine, paramagnetic effects. So I love this clay the most, Vitality Herbs and Clay. You can mention my name again for a small discount. They have the smallest particle size. This is why it's the best, okay, compared to all the other clays. So you want something with the smallest particle size, especially smallest mineral size. They even have monoatomic, that's one atom of an element, that can pass through anywhere and go right into any cell. So it also has the highest silica volume. So this is the stuff you use when, like, somebody has a horrible accident when they fracture the bones in their face. It's like, the doctors will be like, good luck, you know, that your face bones are going to reset in an orderly fashion. Usually they're just like, you know, there's not much we can do. You're probably going to be disfigured. Guess what magically resets the bones in the face? The only thing known to do that is clay. And it can do it also in other areas that, you know, it's great with all kinds of bone healing. But what they would do is they just simply, you do lots of clay masks and it'll reset everything. But for the, let's say there's necrotic bone in the jaw, because a lot of people have teeth issues. It's crazy. Let's just use that as an example. So you're just going to do like a clay mask. You're just going to coat this area for 10, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. When you use this clay and you're trying to work on that area on the bone, you'll do a treatment every day, maybe a teaspoon, and then you're going to take a water, you're going to spray water on that clay to keep it hydrated. The longer you keep it hydrated, the more active it actually stays. So instead of drying up quickly, because it's very fine, and then it stops kind of being active, you just keep it hydrated. That's the secret. So it's like almost like doing multiple clay masks, which would be kind of tedious. You just keep it hydrated. It's very simple. Spray your face or spray that part of your body. And then that's it. You just do that daily usually. Clay is also amazing for skin conditions, by the way. So you're treating that area on top of the bones. Those minerals will actually go right. They're small enough literally to go into the area. The silica content is the highest of anything, 60% by volume. Orthosilic acid form. So that's exactly what boosts collagen. And your bones are actually, and the other tissues around it that support it, are a very high percentage of collagen. And most people are very silica deficient. That's the main reason, one of the main reasons for collagen decline in the body, hardening of the arteries, all these different things is silica. Actually, look where in your diet you're getting enough silica. It's like nowhere. So it's a great thing to take internally too. You'll actually see a lot of benefits. So then if you can use it internally in an area related to the bone, I mean, well, just take it as a supplement. But let's say it's your jaw for a second. You could actually pack it into your gum line, or even if you have a gum condition or a teeth condition, and just let it and just sleep with it all night long in that area. It'll also continue to seep into the jaw if we're just talking about the jaw for a second. So you can use it internally there. That's it. Sacred clay is good. They have another one called earthen ormus. Check that one out too. It's just a great supplement to take that boosts all kinds of effects in the body. Long explanation, but the types of minerals in the form in here also would become potentiated and help with pulling frequencies in resonance into the cells from PEMF therapy. It's a complicated biophysics explanation, but there's a synergy. That's all I can tell you right now. There's a synergy between what's in this clay and making PEMF work better. Okay, so get the earthen ormus. Also, just because it's an amazing trace mineral source, and like everybody's deficient in trace minerals, it's also ridiculous. And when you're deficient in trace minerals, vast percentages of your genes in your DNA cannot even work. Most of your vitamins that you get in your diet cannot even work properly. So if you want to address something in your health, address your trace mineral issue. Because honestly, that's generally more the root later in life of most diseases and conditions. It's sad but true because it's so simple. But it's so. By the way, there are other amazing trace mineral products out there. It's taken me years to kind of figure out what are the better ones. But this is definitely one, and I can, if you email me, I'll give you a couple other products that will correct all your trace mineral issues if you just take a couple of them consistently for a few years. And then that's like your insurance policy from getting any major health conditions down the road also. Let's see how long this video turned out to be. 30 minutes, not surprising. But, you know, if you know my style. But I'm sure you find this probably value-packed with information. Feel free to forward this to anybody with any sort of necrotic bone sorts of conditions. By the way, a lot of these modalities I'm talking about and just using them in this protocol, you know, it's actually good for a very wide variety of serious conditions. That's the beauty of these modalities. So if you have other conditions where you're like, hey, what about this condition? I don't have dead, dying bone, but, you know, I have this, I have that. Believe it or not, really most of these modalities are valid for most conditions, and they're very powerful. So it's usually the answer is yes, especially used in this sequence. It just really is a breakthrough combination. So because keep it in perspective, like, wow, if something can bring back dead bone to life, what else could it do, right? If you just think logically about that for a second, well, it can do a lot of things for you in different types of tissues. So anyways, that's it. If you have any questions, you can ask them below in my video, or this YouTube video. You can also get on my website and ask me tons more information about all this. I also have so much more modalities information for so many different conditions that may or may not help, because I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying theoretically, I heard through the grapevine that these modalities may improve your immune system. So that's me using FDA appropriate terms. But you're going to have to check with your doctor to actually see if this is going to help you or not, because I can't make any health claims. Anyways, if you have questions, comments, and if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And thanks for watching.